it off with some of the challenges and maybe how to avoid or overcome?
Sure. I think in today's market with the carriers, the number one thing they want to do is digital transformation, to have a digital service experience for their users and also have a more agile business. So this is now a major trend in the industry. And the challenge is that digital transformation requires that they redo a good portion of their IT stack.
Yep.
And the way the IT stack has been built up is it's layers and layers of Band-Aids and bubble gum, and people own all those layers. So there's all these constituencies within the mobile operator that owns the thing they did 4 years ago and the 3 patches they've done on it since, that all sits on top of another patchwork of things. And so one of the big challenges is just getting to the point where the operator says, I need a way to start doing something completely different so I can move my business forward. We've helped with that by giving them an easy migration path to use.
Yep.
You have to have some way of migrating them from the old world to the new world so they can become new. But then also what's helped is just watching what's happening with the internet service providers, the over-the-top providers, who are capturing mind share using modern technology. And that's really helped the operators understand, wow, they can do something I can't do.
That kind of drives the urgency as well.
And that's where it becomes an urgent problem as opposed to an important problem.
Yes.
So I think just the patchwork of technologies that have been built up over time that don't really work well together, but they're tried and true, and all the constituencies organizationally who own that patchwork and don't want to let go of it. And it's really educating those folks that, look, you can let go of old technology and actually do a better job for your company. It doesn't mean you're going to lose your job or lose your expertise. It means you're more valuable to your company going forward. And that's been, we're achieving that, and that's been one of the challenges.
So let me dig a little deeper into this. So you're going to provide new solutions, allow them to provision, deliver different service plan flexibility. You've got to be able to help them build this on top of their existing patchwork, but also say in the future you can do it in this kind of rebuild environment.
Yeah, so we have
two ways of solving it.
Exactly. So one of the big challenges was a business model challenge in the sense that how do you show someone who's in a place they know they need to change? Because I think it's unanimous. You talk to all the C-suites at all the major carriers in the world today, they get it. They need to upgrade their IT stack in these areas. So then, but they say, how do I get there from here? I have a lot of nervous people. So we gave them 2 ways. We said, okay, way number 1, first of all, your back-end systems are fine. There's nothing wrong with those. Your customer care systems, maybe they need work, but they're not on fire. And your data network and your core RAN and your data network maybe has some issues, but it's actually pretty good. That's not where the heart of your problem is, engaging your users and becoming digital. Your problem is in user engagement, policy, and billing. So those 3 areas. So we gave them 2 ways to get from the old world to the new world. Way number 1 is we'll build a parallel stack, leave what you have alone, and we'll do something new together. So we'll do engagement, policy, and billing all at once together and launch a new service. So that's, for example, Virgin Data Done Right. And you can go buy that, check it out, comes out of the box, off you go. It's a completely new service experience that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Great. So that's how we got going with Sprint, and now we have we're approaching 10 million users on their network. The other way we're now offering is we say, look, we have 3 different suites, engagement, policy, and billing. You can start with engagement, which is really your problem, and you have no way to engage your users. Your BI system produces a result and says, these are the users I want to give a special offer to, or I want to retain, or I want to offer a new phone, get a new user on the account, but you have no way to act. You send them an email. That's very inefficient. We'll give you a way to engage that user at exactly the right moment on the device with intelligent device software where they get an actionable offer, and that offer plugs into their back-end fulfillment system and initiates a transaction. Whether that transaction is for a new service upgrade or a new device or insurance or whatever it is, we enable that. And that is something they don't have today. So they're saying, I desperately need that. Then once we have that, we say, look, you can stop there if you'd like. Or if you want to start fixing some of the gum work you have going on in your policy apparatus, we can do that. And that's going to make you more agile, be able to do new services more quickly and services you can't do today. And then finally, eventually, you may want us to help you with your billing problem. So we came up with 2 ways to do this, and that's really what unlocked the market for us.
So let me jump over to Kamesh next with some of your ideas or some of the challenges, how to avoid them.
It's, I mean, what he was saying applies almost verbatim to the infrastructure space.
Yep.
You have silos, you have storage silos, you have networking silos, you have security silos. So when we start talking to these large organizations that have very large data centers, that's the first challenge, right? They all don't talk to each other. They live in their own worlds. And when we come with a open source, shared platform idea, all of a sudden you're dealing with these, legacy platforms and people that have processes that are already built. So that's the first challenge. How do we go address that? One of the ways we're addressing that, it's a big challenge. I mean, no doubt, there are the process issues, there are cultural issues. Technology is the last problem to be solved. The way we are solving that is saying, look, you don't have to go, disrupt and kill everything and start, from scratch. You can use what you have. OpenStack is actually a framework that can consume many of these things you already have.
Yep.
So let's say you are an EMC shop and you've got a whole bunch of EMC storage systems that you're using within your data center. It doesn't mean you have to throw that all away.
Yeah.
Use it with OpenStack, and OpenStack will give you this, standardized open API interface now that you can consume. You get self-service, you get fast provisioning times, all of that stuff, right? So that's kind of the brownfield, kind of take your existing stuff and patch it into OpenStack. The other approach is start greenfield, start brand new data centers.
Right. MVNO maybe or something like that as a spinoff?
Right. So I mean, we have both approaches. Folks that use VMware can use OpenStack today. So it's kind of a journey, if you will.
So let me throw up
It's really, if I can just inject, it's really interesting because you have OpenStack, which is a core infrastructure everything runs on. We're virtual, so we have a cloud system. We don't care what stack you want to run on. We have our own cloud service where you can just subscribe, or if you really want to have your arms around the data center, you can do that too. But the point is, these technologies are virtual, and they're both getting away from that old siloed world where everything is so rigid and you have all these literally different people in different ends of the company protecting these different silos that don't really communicate together, that are all required to do something new.
Yep.
And so moving to the cloud is how you solve that. And it's interesting, you can build a data center, or you can use it to absorb what you already have and do something new. That's really quite similar to what we're doing.
It's a dual approach, because for some, it's not about going and doing entirely something new. It's reprovisioning what they have and doing it in a more agile way, and we enable both approaches.
Very similar.
Yeah.
So Biren, let me let you, we're running out of time, and I would ask you the challenge question.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to give you the opportunity to leave it open if you want to wrap up. With
Actually, I do want to share the challenge
Then
question.
take it away.
So, the big challenge we faced, which is how do you cut your teeth on a tier one?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's the large operators that really kind of move the needle in terms of sales. So the answer is you don't cut your teeth on a tier one. You go cut your teeth on a tier three or a tier two. If I can give any advice to any startup out there, really, that's what you should do. It's a really not a very smart idea to try to do it for the first time with a really large operator. Large operators are very tough, and a lot of things have to line up. There's a lot of different groups, and it takes everyone to say yes and one person to say no. And my advice would be, and this is what we did, is we went and found a really friendly customer who we adore today, and they're a great customer out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, Telecom, and they've been awesome for us, and they gave us the experience we needed to go after, we've announced Telefonica, we've got 4 other tier ones that we're engaged with and we're deploying across countries to give us the confidence and experience. So that would be my advice.
That's such an important example. I think it ties into what Dr. Taga was saying. What I say over and over is, he mentioned Swisscom. I talk about Swisscom a lot. I also say, look at the Canadian. If you're coming from a North American perspective, you could go up to the Canadian carriers who are smaller and can make decisions more quickly. U.S. Cellular Corporation. So you can get all the decision makers in one room in Chicago for U.S. Cellular. Have them go, yeah, we like your stuff. It's easier to make the biz dev deal, shorter cycle. It's quicker to deploy a pilot project and then into their network than the larger carriers, because they move slightly more quickly. And to your all additional points, they may be the number 3 or number 4, but they might be more aggressive in terms of being competitive in their market.
Yeah, and if you make a mistake
you've got
or
a
anything,
phenomenal reference case.
Yeah,
because when you go to a Telefonica, they can go, well, are you really carrier?
Yeah, are you real?
Yes,
Can I really
really
trust
carrier.
my network?
Can you really scale? Yes, I can really scale. So the proof case, you make that I wouldn't call it necessarily a baby step. It's a pretty big step. You make that first step, make it a short one, so take you part way up to the tier 1 carrier and go from there.
That was incredibly important for the evolution of our company, and really what set us up to be in the position we are now, which is engaging with the large tier 1s and not stubbing our toe. Okay, maybe we stub our toe a bit, but not in a really big way. You don't want to do that with a tier 1. They're pretty less tolerant.
Right, and also, if we're talking about a startup growing in these rounds of funding I talked about, like if you strike that multinational Telefonica deal or Singtel deal, or but a massive deal with Verizon, do you have the funding to deliver that the next month? Can is your startup of 10 or 20 people going to be able to actually do that without diverting? And what's worse if it's just a proof of concept and you've got to divert your entire staff to it and bet the company on that? That's a big risk to take for something that may or may not pan out, right? All right, great. So, and you guys somehow managed to avoid that pitfall and make it through and make those iterative steps and have a lot of success. So congratulations to the three of you on that. And thanks a lot for having this Success Stories panel with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can stay seated. We're going to wrap up and go to break anyway, so you may as well stay there for just 1 second. Okay. So thanks a lot to everybody. We're going to go to break, take half an hour.